Hallo, ek is Edie. Welkom by my kanaal waar ons als saam doen. Last week was a wild week. I didn't expect the term to start off quite as rough, but here we are. I'm here, you here. Today was a 40-degree day, so the aircon is on. That is the humming you hear in the background. It's just too hot to switch it off. Today, we are going to look at past tense in Afrikaans. This is an introductory video, so what that means is it encompasses most of the principles of Afrikaans past tense. But what I would like you guys to think of when you watch this video is what of the specific principles of past tense you would like to learn more of. Which of these things still doesn't make sense? Think about it while you're watching, and then after the video, leave comments in the comment section and tell me what you would like to learn more, what I should make another video about, and elaborate on that specific concept. Okay, so top left you see the word het, and top right you see the sound or the syllable ge. Now, I'm first going to explain to you what these two are used for. That's unrelated to past tense, because there can be a very great confusion if you don't understand how to discern between when it's past tense and when it is just a verb or a syllable that means nothing. Right, so het, in a previous video I explained het is the Afrikaans word for to have. Om te hê, the infinitive om te hê, which means to have something. So as a verb, het and hê, to have something. There is a whole video on to have on my channel if you haven't watched that one yet. And then on the top right, you've got ge. Ge is just a syllable when it is not related to past tense. So there are many words that ge simply forms part of the word, and those are not past tense words. The examples here: gereeld, gewoonte, gedaante, and gedrag. So these words are not past tense. They are simply words that also have ge in the beginning. Now, before we get to all the ways in which you can create past tense of verbs in Afrikaans, you have to understand how the to have, how het, is changed to past tense. So that is where a lot of the confusion can come in. So I've got the example, ek wil kos hê, which means I want food. I want to have lunch. So that's the infinitive, and that is the verb form of het. Het is your present tense and hê is your present tense, but het has its own past tense. Het's past tense is gehad. Gehad. Now you'll see it changes to the word hot, but it also has a ge in front. So this one you have to learn, and you'll see, pretty soon you'll see why it's so important to understand that the word verb, the verb het, has its own past tense, gehad. But the word het is also used to create all of or most of the Afrikaans past tense sentences. Alright, so are you with me so far? I can almost promise you that it will be clarified pretty soon. I hope that it will be clarified pretty soon. Bottom right, you see the examples of when het is used in the past tense form. So the top sentence there is ek het gehad. Now, in this case, in that past tense sentence, you see the word het again, and you wanted to stop, but why? Why? Because gehad is then the past tense of het. Why is het in the sentence as well? Why is it ek het gehad? Why is the present and the past tense in that one sentence? And that is because the het in this ek het gehad is now not the infinitive or is not a verb anymore. It now is an indication of past tense in Afrikaans. So that is the other role of the word het. It is the indication and the word that is used for Afrikaans past tense. And it is used in conjunction with the syllable ge that is attached to a lot of the past tense word in Afrikaans to indicate the past tense form of verbs. So you'll have ek het gehad. And I'm going to clarify this way more in the rest of this video. But you'll see ek het gehad can mean I had, I have had, or I did have. Right, so all of those things, ek het gehad. The sentences in this clip is all sentences formed with the two words wil hê. Het and hê is the same, it has the same meaning. So both of them means to have. But when you use hê, it will usually be accompanied by wil. So het, when it is in a verb and it means to have in Afrikaans, it just stands alone in the sentence. But hê, I'm stumbling. Hê is accompanied by wil, so wil hê. Right, so the sentence examples is ek wil kos hê, which means I want food. Ek wou kos gehad het. Now, the word wil is one of the Afrikaans words, and it's one of few that actually changes form without adding a ge in front of the word. It changes from wil to wou. That is its past tense word. It doesn't get gewil. So there's no ge. It's just wil to wou. Later on in the video, I will show you the other two words that also changes from present to past tense without the ge. So in these sentences, you'll see ek wou, wil changes to wou, kos gehad, which is the past tense of hê and het. And then at the back, you see the het, not a verb anymore, but an indication of past tense. And in these cases, when you have something like wil that changes form to its own past tense, ek wou, the het that is the past tense indicator is at the back of the sentence. For these ones, and I'll explain this to you again later. Wat wil jy hê? What do you want? Wat wou jy gehad het? What did you want? Wil jy kos hê? Do you want food? Wou jy kos gehad het? Here are sentences that has the word het as a verb in them. The previous one was wil hê as a verb, and now it's het as a verb in the sentence. And then it shows you how it changes to the past tense. Hy het baie geld. He has a lot of money. Then, hy het baie geld gehad. Now you see that wil hê with the wil that changes to wou is not in the sentence anymore. Here you have het, which then changes to gehad, and the het that indicates the past tense is now before gehad in the sentence. It's not at the back as in the previous examples. So you have ek het, past tense indicator, baie geld gehad. Right. Sy het 2 kinders. Sy het 2 kinders gehad. So I'm just going to continue reading through the Afrikaans examples. You guys can check out the English if you want to. Ons het 6 honde. Ons het 6 honde gehad. Ons het nie baie kos nie. Ons het nie baie kos gehad nie. Ek het nie tyd verstry nie. Ek het nie tyd verstry gehad nie. Now that we've dealt with wil hê and het and the past tense of those two verbs, as well as what het is when it is not a verb and the role of ge, now we're going to really look at the role of ge in past tense. And these verbs that I'm going to show to you now, the past tense is the majority of verbs. That's the majority of how they changed in Afrikaans when you change from present to past tense. And there are always the exceptions, as you know by now in Afrikaans, there's always an exception for pretty much everything. And that might be the case in all or most languages, I'm sure. Ek stap in die straat, right? I walk in the street, or I'm walking in the street. Now, that changes to ek het, past tense indicator, in die straat gestap. Now, you'll see there, the word stap, without the ge, is the verb in present tense. But then this verb, it changes to, and most Afrikaans verbs now get a ge to indicate the past tense form of that verb. So it's just stap and it becomes gestap. And then you always have the het in the beginning of the sentence after ek to also indicate past tense. So this is the majority of past tense. Ek grawe 'n gat. Ek het 'n gat gegrawe. Ons rook te veel. Ons het te veel gerook. Ek swem in die see. Ek het in die see geswem. These words on the left are words like wil that changes form. Now you see I don't have wil that changes to vo with these. And I'll explain to you in the next clip why. But for now, sal changes to so. Moet changes to moes in the past tense. Mag stays the same, and it's mag in the present and mag in the past tense. However, it wasn't always that way. Mag used to change to moch in the very past, very far past. In my lifetime, it was always mag in the present and past. But there was a time that it was moch. And it's still in the dictionary, but we do not speak that way. Right, so that's just a little bit of an interesting fact. If you do read it in the dictionary, you will find moch in some of them, but we don't speak that way anymore. So the examples. Ek sal die kos maak. Right, now you see two there, two verbs. Ek sal, and then there's also maak. Now, sal changes form to so, but maak also get its past tense, which then becomes gemaak. And then there's also the het that is again added to the back, because these things like sal that changes form and doesn't get a ge, that one's always first in the sentence, and then the het that is usually after ek is now at the back. Alright, so ek sal kos maak. Ek sou kos gemaak het. Ek moet gaan werk. Ek moes gaan werk het. Ek mag hier parkeer. Ek mag hier parkeer het. So not much changes there. It's just mag, and then it's mag and the het's at the back of the sentence. You'll see at the top it says sonder, sinne sonder het in the past tense. And then you'll see these verbs that changes from the present to past tense and doesn't get a ge. Now you'll see wil among these verbs, and you'll ask me, but why? Because in the previous examples that I gave you, I said wil changes to vo, and then it's gehad het. Wil does change to vo, and if it is coupled with he, wil he, because then it's like one concept. When it is coupled wil he, then there is always a het in the past tense sentence. It's then wou gehad het. That is the exception. If you use it coupled with other words besides wil he or the verb wil he, if you couple it with other verbs, it does not get a het at the back of the sentence. These ones in the little box, they only change form. There's no ge, and there's also no het involved. So we have kan, which becomes kon, then you have wil, which becomes wou, and then is, which becomes was. Ek kan sing. Ek kon sing. Ek wil nie luister nie. Ek wou nie luister nie. Ek is kwaad. Ek was kwaad. But it can also be ek was kwaad gewees. It's one of those who have two past tense forms. Ek was kwaad, full stop, or ek was kwaad gewees. Now that is an interesting one. We can circle back to that one in the next video. Okay. You'll see at the top. These are sinne sonder ge in die verlede tyd, which is sentences without ge in the past tense. On the left, you'll see a lot of prefixes. Now, my mother learned, I don't think it was a rhyme, but they learned these things, and she couldn't remember what they were and why she could remember them in the order that she could. But she always, from high school years, remembered the ge, haar, und verb is weer. And she can say it faster. And she could not tell me why she knows them and why they learned them in that order until I made this video. And then we discovered that, oh, it's the word that doesn't get ge in the past tense. So here we are. Right, so let's look at the first one, which is be, the prefix. Words like beplan. Ons beplan om weg te gaan. And the past tense, ons het beplan om weg te gaan. And you'll see in that sentence, there's no ge. The het's there, and it's after ek, jy, ons, hulle. So it's ons het beplan, but beplan stays the same. It doesn't get gebeplan, right? So it doesn't get a ge. So you have to learn these prefixes, make yourself a little rhyme, a song, learn them. These are the ones that doesn't get ge in the past tense, but they do have a het. Ons geniet ons vakansie. Ons het ons vakansie geniet. And it's one of those words again that we spoke of earlier when I introduced the ge and said these words, you know, ge this, ge that. They don't have it's not past tense, it's just the word. Now here you've got ons het ons vakansie geniet. It's not gegeniet. It doesn't get a double ge. It's just geniet. Ek herken hom. Ek het hom herken. Sy erken sy was verkeerd. Sy het herken dat sy verkeerd was. Now that also is something that needs to be approached in its own video because the word order changes a lot. But you still see the concept remains the same. It's got a prefix that is part of this little list, and it doesn't get a ge before it to form a past tense. Hy onthou als. Hy het als onthou. Ek verstaan. Ek het verstaan. I just realized that I actually didn't translate all of these things for you. I thought about translating them verbally when I wrote the script for the video, and then I forgot. So you will have some homework to go translate all of these Afrikaans sentences for yourself. So ek verstaan, I understand. Ek het verstaan, I understood. Ek, nie ek nie, nee. Hy misbruik dwelms. Hy het dwelms misbruik. Hy weerspreek homself. Hy het homself weerspreek. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know if you want me to elaborate on any of the past tense and if there's anything that I didn't touch on. This was really just an introduction and a very condensed version of past tense. I know past tense, like everything else, can be complicated, but I hope that this clarifies some of the stuff. I honestly didn't think I'll get to make this video this evening because the week that I've had last week was all kinds of crazy. It was just it was a lot. I'm still reeling from it, but I'm glad I got to do it. I swam open water, like a 3 kilometer on Sunday, past Sunday, and I enjoyed it. It was wonderful. It really was. First time I swam a 3 kilometer open water because I Usually I'm a stroke swimmer, so I compete in swim meets inside and swim 4 times. I don't often swim open water, but since my work schedule looked the way it looked this term, I just decided that I can't focus on competing indoors in the summer because we just have too much work. So I'll do the indoors and the competing in the winter, and I just went with a friend and we enjoyed the open water, and it really was stunning. You guys must have an awesome day. I'll see you in the next video.